She said my edges miss you too. Oh Lord.
Oh gosh, not the edges. That's a whole conversation by itself.
Right.
Somebody's edges.
What happened to my 20 people? Y'all playing?
You ready? All right. We are on live. Welcome to another episode of A Side of Shade.
Hey.
Hey. And we have a special guest in the building. But first, I'll introduce myself. I'm Krishna.
I'm Victoria.
And I'm Kristen.
And we have with us, as someone already said, the handsome, the extraordinaire stylist to the stars. I'm just saying that. I don't know if you see the stars yet, but you might be at the stars.
A little
something.
A little something.
Right. We have Chalice with us today. Welcome.
Yay. We love having guests.
I'm honored to be here. About time I got here.
All right now. Yes. Okay, yay.
Oh, that's nice.
That is nice. See?
nice.
Look, you had to look at you had to look at yourself. All right.
Yes.
They
just turned the screen around so now we can see.
We got print.
That look nice.
See. All right. So, yes, we have our special guest today. I think you all probably remember 2 weeks ago now. You know, we can't keep up. Week ago, 2 weeks, but we just had the holiday and all that, so I know people still. How was your holiday?
It was wonderful.
It was? How about yours?
It was pretty good. I was with family down south.
Oh, nice. What's down south? Down south where?
South Carolina.
Oh, that's down south.
Yeah.
South
Road.
Kakalaki.
Very down south. South Kakalaki.
South Kakalaki, yeah.
Well, it's dirt road kind of south. Okay,
Yeah,
got
like
you.
that.
How about you, Kristen?
The holidays was good.
Was it though?
It was.
I know. Right. Like, what does that really mean?
My family can be a little interesting, but yeah, we made it through.
Well, I
by
think
the grace of God.
we all got that, but it's okay though. But yeah, so we are back. We did part 1 of all things dating, relationships, and so on and so forth. We did that with our girl Nikki Jules 2 weeks ago, and so now we decided to bring in Mr. Chalice to talk about all things dating part 2.
All things dating part 2.
I know that's right. You ready for this?
I'm ready. I think I'm ready.
You think so?
I think I'm ready.
Because the ladies from A Side of Shade can be a bit much.
Oh, hey, I can be a bit much too.
All right now. You heard it from him.
We've
To the
heard.
left.
We've heard. That's why we wanted you on here.
We did. We were excited about this
very
because
much.
one of the things, we were going to try to have a guy on last time. We were like, that's too much. That would be overload. So we wanted to make sure we have a special segment.
Okay,
to get
I'm
a
honored
person.
to feel like the special guy that you guys invited on.
Yes.
I'm happy to be here.
Yes. So I guess we can get this party started. I think the first thing, one of the things we talked about last time was we talked about online dating and all that. And we got some interesting perspectives about that because I think we all were like, I didn't know people out here doing these kind of things.
Dope.
I mean, I don't know. Have you been on online dating?
I have honestly been online dating probably for the last 6 years.
Really?
Yeah, it is. It's
Like heavy online dating, or just kind of like?
it'd be like on and off. Now that my career has kind of spin off a little bit, I'm not not as much.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like to make it one permanent person while I'm trying to create my success. But sometimes that's hard to achieve.
Mm-hmm. Well, can you tell our viewers a little bit about what you do, and so then they can kind of get a good perspective of what how when you talk about your career and that sort of thing. So what do you actually do?
Well, name is Chalice Aubrey, Southern. I am a hairstylist, professional cosmetologist. I've been in Baltimore about 9 years, working at the same salon for about 6. And I have my own men's hair replacement company called His Hair. Mm-hmm. You can make an appointment at hishair@yahoo.com. My Instagram is _individualist, INDIVIDUALIST. And my Facebook is Chalice Aubrey.
All right. So how is that business?
It's doing pretty good. It's doing really, really good. I just saw something and kind of went with it. Mm-hmm. And, with the grace of God, everything just worked out the way that it did.
I know that's right.
So it's like weaves for men.
That's it. I'm replacing men's hair temporarily.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
3 to 6 weeks for the most part.
Okay.
So they come back. They come back to
they come back to get it reinstalled and stuff like that. Yeah.
So you found that was a niche.
Yeah, it was. I saw that it was happening in other places like Atlanta, more down south.
Okay.
And I saw that there was a want for it here, so I decided to investigate, take a couple of classes, and I bought it to Baltimore. There you have it.
That's
Nice.
awesome. That's
Nice.
awesome. So do you find that men, I know compared to women getting weaves, are you finding that men are okay, they're comfortable with getting replacement or weaves or however?
Well, I mean, it started off as kind of like uncomfortable because they don't want everybody to know, blah, 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 blah. But we figured, hey, women can switch their hair up, then why can't men switch their hair up? And I have a few men that are very, very not really confident with how they look without hair. So to add that hair just boosts the confidence level. So they don't really care anymore who looks or who doesn't.
I know that's right.
That's cool.
That's awesome. What
That's cool.
Kristen, I didn't know if you. I mean, you know him very well because you all are good friends.
Yes. Chalice and I started working at a salon/spa that we won't mention.
Absolutely
a few years
not.
back.
Ooh.
But yes, and I
the
that's
shade,
really-
right? The shade.
Yes. That's a segment all on its own.
Well, at the time, we were the only black people that worked there.
Oh, okay.
I think we were the only 2 black people that worked there.
Yeah, in Tierra.
And Tierra.
So 3 of us.
So everybody know.
So yeah, it was only 3 of us. So,
And so us black folk got to stick together.
I know that's
But-
right.
Yes, Chalice is an amazing person. So I absolutely fell in love with him because not only is he extremely talented, but he's one of the most humble people I've ever met in my entire life. So he's just very sweet and genuine, and very trustworthy. So yeah, we kicked it off, from there.
Cool. That's awesome.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right. So now you in Baltimore. Now, do you travel a lot, or you just mainly in Baltimore?
I'm mainly in Baltimore, but I do actually travel a lot.
Okay.
I do.
So like you were saying about when it comes to dating, and I think that's one of the things we talked about, like how does your lifestyle or your, your work then fit in with you trying to date? Because you do want to have a personal life.
Absolutely, but I find that being an African American gay male, openly gay male, in today's society and actually trying to build success intimidates a lot of people. And intimidates a lot of people.
Like who? Like people like just who you
People
work
like
with?
myself, just in the dating world altogether, if people see you at a certain type of caliber, they're afraid to approach that. So they just see you as, he looks stuck up, or he might make too much money, or he got this, he got that, and they make it out to be a problem, so they kind of run for it.
Okay.
Run from it, excuse me.
Gotcha.
So they're basing that off of your profile, not even getting to know you.
That, maybe even seeing me out.
Okay.
I'm a bit of an introvert. Like, I'll speak to you if I know you, but I'm not at the club like, everybody's friend. I like to chill.
Okay, so because you're quiet, they assume
right.
you're quiet, you're professional.
Right.
So therefore.
Right. Therefore.
But his style, you don't miss him.
Uh-uh.
He demands your attention when you come.
So wait a minute. So if you do see him in the club, wait a minute. If we do see you in the club, we know who he is.
Oh, absolutely. You don't mistake him for nobody.
Okay.
Because Kristen had told us that some of your videos had gone viral. So are you like a local celebrity sort of? Because clearly, if people are making assumptions without necessarily knowing you, then they must actually know you a little bit.
Right. Well, I didn't anticipate that at all. That's just something that kind of happened. Do I consider myself a local celebrity? I don't, but other people may think differently.
Okay.
There isn't like a whole lot of stuff going on in Baltimore, to be completely honest. But to showcase my work, whether it was going viral in a negative or even a positive way, has shined a lot of light on me. On me, excuse me, and it's been pretty good.
Okay.
But as far as people thinking, he might be like this local celebrity type of thing, might kind of shun them away from actually trying to get to know me as a person.
So how do you think when it comes to dating? I guess you don't describe yourself as a celebrity, but we're saying you're a celebrity. You're our first celebrity guest. Right. And so, being who you are and at celebrity status for Baltimore, maybe we consider that. How do you feel that people, when it comes to dating, their approach with you? Like, how do you discern whether someone is looking to really say, hey, I want to get to know you, or I'm trying to get to glow up with you?
Right.
Like, what?
How
do you discern
I really
that?
don't know the difference. In Baltimore specifically, there's a lot of people like that are just trying to latch on for whatever they can get. So I really don't know the difference. Honestly, I probably only dated maybe one person seriously since I've been in Baltimore. It was 9 years. But everybody else I dated is pretty much in like DC area because people, like guys more out there, they kind of like do their own thing. They got their own kind of stuff going on for real. But I've been in a couple of situations where guys want to go places with me and do things with me just to latch themselves onto me so they can be seen.
Got you.
Yeah.
And how do you think? One of the things we like to do, we do like to be as honest as possible. We try to keep it, 100. As I don't know, do the kids still say that?
They
I don't
still,
know.
yeah.
Okay. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? When you
emojis.
Right.
It's an emoji.
So do you?
It makes it official.
I guess it makes it official then, right?
Right.
But do you find like, especially for, and we don't need to say your age, but for younger folks or younger, especially gay men, do you find that how are they feeling on the scene now? Because we were kind of talking about chatting it up before we got here, of for our interview and just saying, when for me being over 40. I know I don't look it, but no.
Not at all, baby.
You ain't had to look. I stopped you
Yes, I
before
should
you was about to say it.
Oh,
I saw it coming out, but I just make sure you was gonna say it.
She tried it.
You look good, mama.
Thank you, boo. So, but being over 40, there's always been, myths that we were always, for us, it wasn't as, people weren't as open. I mean, now, of course, now they are. But when we were growing up, it wasn't just out and open. People didn't feel as comfortable coming out and saying that they were gay and dating and that sort of thing. So do you find that there's still some of those myths? And then one of the myths we were talking about is that, people who, especially for gay men, that it's more about sex than anything. Like it's just a sexual thing. It's nothing more. They don't want any more than that. It's just that. Do you find that still stands, or do you think it's a little bit different?
I think it still stands, and honestly, I think it's gotten worse.
Oh, wow.
I'm only 4 years younger than you, but we could
Stop it. We could have went to high school together. You was in the 9th grade and I was in the 12th.
In the 12th. Right. We could have went to school together, but
We look good, don't we?
Right.
black don't crack.
That's right. Unless you do
Unless
crack.
you're doing crack.
Yeah, hello.
But anyways, like coming up down south, like all we had was like a chat line. I mean, you called and you talked to people, all you heard was a voice. You didn't really get to see who it was until you guys actually met up, and it could have been your worst nightmare, it could have been the love of your life, it just depends. But unfortunately now, like, social media has taken over that. Like, you ask for a person's profile, you can go on their page, you can see what they look like. Oh, sorry. You can see what they look like. You can see where they're from. You can see how they dress, who they know. And that just kind of tells it all. So it's like before you can actually sit down to actually talk to a person to see what they're about, you've already like judged them from their pages.
Right.
From their social media pages. So by the time you go out with them, what else could it be other than sex? They pretty much answered all your questions before you even asked them.
Interesting. I know you were talking about just how the online presence sometimes just, it can affect who the people you do attract. Because we were talking about the whole like younger, and even though you are of age and you may say in your profile, hey, I'm looking for a certain age, because you look so young, you might attract.
Yeah, because
people.
I put on my profile, over 40, and I consistently get people well under 40 who they're interested in dating someone older, but I also think that they just disregard it. They don't even look at it because I look younger, right? So then they sort of assume that because I look younger, I'm going to act younger, right? And so I think there's this also, so when you had talked about being online for a long time and also sort of dating folks in DC, do you find that, because I'm also out, and I find that for women, it's really quiet. Like it's really hard to make a connection. And it's not like folks don't know, right? So it's not like you walk into a space and folks don't know, are you gay, are you straight, or whatever. Right. But like just getting folks to get past the hello, right? Just to get to the hello, right? Because you'll see that people have look at your profile all the time, right? But then it takes a long time, I think, for interaction. So when you said that you've been online for like 6 years and like DC, like what's that? What has that been like for you as far as like people actually initiating a real conversation as opposed to, hey, or I'm just looking at your social media, like having real conversation? Because I find that that's what's been a big challenge for me.
It's been a big challenge. A few guys come right on out and say, well, I follow you on Instagram. I mean, that's kind of like a turn off for me because I want you to kind of come at me genuinely and sounding like a fan. Well, even if you're not, that's what it sounds like. So I don't really like to go with that aspect of things. But at the same time, it's almost like meeting the right person, supposedly trying to meet the right person, you have to make a connection.
Right.
You have to make a connection. It's all about asking the right questions. One of my favorite games to play is 21 questions. I want to ask you a question. I want you to answer and not ask me the same thing. So we can get to know each other and not, rebuttal the questions. But you have to make a connection. And there's a couple of guys that hit me up, but they're not really, like, I'm kind of picky a little bit. I want the person
somebody got something to say about it.
I want the person to fit into my lifestyle and what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. What does that mean?
What that means is I like to carry myself a certain type of way. I like to dress a certain type of way. Gays are very, very, very judgmental, and I can
Just
be.
gays?
I can
You
be.
sure?
Well, yeah. I mean, well, I'm sure everybody is
Right.
to a certain
But you
extent,
saying,
but
yeah,
But
right.
particularly
But
like,
for
you
men,
for
saying
the right
yeah.
person to be on my arm or for me to be on their arm, it has to be like, okay, that looks like that makes sense. And to me, it not also has to look like it makes sense. It has to feel like it makes sense. So there's a lot of guys that I might have met where it looked really, really good, but it didn't feel good.
Interesting.
Or that it might have felt good, but it didn't look good.
Right.
So I have to
Interesting.
work
So
my
what's
way
that look
around.
good?
So
Right.
The
So
one
that-
that's the most
yeah.
important, the
Right.
feel good or
The
look
feel good is supposed to be more important.
He said supposed
It's
to.
supposed
So
to.
there's
But
a
no,
battle.
I get that.
I would like both.
Right.
But the feel good to me is more important. I mean, at my age now, I'm still a lot of stuff I'm learning, and I'm learning to calm down what I want and lower my standards.
I totally get that because the last person I was dating, we literally had a conversation about that very same thing. That she was used to being with someone and wanted a certain look, right?
Right.
Because she felt that she had a certain look, right? She was very artsy, fashion forward, whatever.
Right.
So her perfect person, if you will, had the same kind of look, even though what she had with me felt different and it felt better.
Right.
She was stuck on, but the look isn't
She
there.
still ran. Did she run?
She did.
She ran. Yeah.
She did.
And let me tell you
Because
what
the
happens
look,
after
the
that.
look wasn't there, and then a bunch of other things that she was used to
Right.
wasn't there. Even though what she had was completely different, and it felt good, but it was. This is not familiar.
See, what I'm learning now is I've always gone with the look, and the look just wasn't right. The look never got me where I needed to be.
See, that's what I'm saying.
So if you keep going in that same direction, you're eventually going to hit like a stop sign. You have to.
'Cause it's
think,
only gonna
okay,
take you
this
so
isn't
far.
working, so I need to try something different.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And I think it's no different. I think whether you're dealing with homosexual relationships or heterosexual, it's the same thing. People like what they like, they want what they want, but there's always a stop sign, or there's a reason why you should not be, but you pursue anyway.
So now,
Yeah.
what the difference is, if you can find someone that feels good but doesn't quite match the look, with a lot of heterosexual relationships, we can kind of glow up the part.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But are you okay with the glow? Like, can you okay with glowing up that person?
Say, no, that
I'm
shirt doesn't
fine
fit.
with the glow up. I mean, I'm a hairstylist. We're artsy.
I can get you together, right?
And it's like you're not gonna just deny the fact that we need to. I'm not gonna be rude about it or disrespectful about it. I'm not gonna say, well, look, that don't look right. You need to. You know what I'm saying? I kind of feel like if you know what type of person I am, then you'll latch on eventually.
Right.
See, and
You'll
that was
latch on
and that
eventually.
was sort of my thing, was that I'm a Uggs, leggings kind of person, but if I'm going out, I'm gonna step it up.
Right,
You know
of
what I mean?
course.
Like if I know, okay, you're into brows and you're into this, then I'm gonna
Right,
step
you
it up
step it
because I'm versatile. But because I'm not just looking for someone to look just like me, right? So I'm the
not.
person that's much more open to be like, okay, I can adjust, not because I'm faking, but because I'm adjusting, right? We adjust accordingly because the same thing goes for me. Like I like for locks to look neat and tidy most of the time. So I may very well, I'm going to say that, and then you can act accordingly. Like, I'm not going to leave you if you got new growth, but
I mean, it depends.
you know what I mean?
It depends on
But
how long
I'm
the
gonna-
new growth is. A
But
new
I'm
growth. I mean,
I'm going to refer you to
there's
my
a
salon
time
and
frame
say
for
they
your
got
new
some
growth.
openings.
Like, hey, babe,
Hey,
Don't
wanna
be
go,
trying to-
you know,
don't be trying to change
refer you to
me.
my
Right.
salon.
No, but I mean, and that you bring up a great point. The whole trying to change somebody. I think that I feel like somebody can match your fly in different ways. I think
That's
people
right.
get caught up on it has to be a certain
That's
way.
right.
But if I'm coming to you saying, look, this is what I'm bringing to the table, and you again, like if you wear again, I ain't got no issue with Popeye's workers.
Here we go.
But when all I'm saying is, people. No,
This is like the third time.
This is the third time. Because this is my thing is that I don't like when people constantly talk about what they want. They got their long list of items, and you only got two.
And you don't have to.
Right.
Yeah. I get it.
That's my issue. I ain't got no problem with you working at Popeyes. But now if you want to glow up and date the manager, I'm here for it.
Right.
But what I'm saying is if you can't be working at Popeyes and you ain't got ain't scheduled in no classes, you ain't got nothing in the pipeline, that's
aspiring
all
to be
you
the
got,
manager.
and you talking about you want somebody to have these 10 things. No.
Right.
That's all I'm
You
saying.
must meet your own requirements.
That's
exactly.
Right. That's right.
Say that again.
You must meet your own requirements.
So that's all
Absolutely.
I'm saying. Now
Absolutely.
you can come. I think you can come to the table with some certain things that, hey, you know what, we want to do this together. I get it. That's because that happens
Right.
where y'all come at a certain level and y'all both trying to get whatever, and we can bring each other up. But
well, see, I don't care what anybody says. What is a relationship or even dating a person if you're not learning anything from each other?
There it is.
here we go.
You can't go
There it is.
into any relationship.
Thank you.
And know everything.
That's right.
It's
That's right.
impossible.
That's right.
That's right.
It's impossible. How you dress might change. The cologne you might change. How you wear your hair might change.
How you eat
This
might
is just what
change.
happens.
What you're
I'm not
interested
trying
in.
to change
Life in general
you.
may change,
Right.
yeah.
Or you're not trying to change me. This is just the things that you have done to accommodate each other to make each other happy.
Right.
And
And
you may use that for the next relationship.
Oh, right.
You might.
Right. You're
I
right.
might have made you better
That's
for the next
growth.
person.
That's right.
That's growth.
But that's
And
just
you
what
gotta be
happens.
okay with the fact that might not be the end game.
Right.
That person you with, like you saying, you might be preparing somebody for the next person. But with that being said, you gotta be okay with that
You have to be okay with that.
because you might have to walk away.
And say, I ain't gonna take you to the mall and, make you over.
And then set you
Right.
set you
And
free.
right.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
I done created a month. No,
Right.
That's not
Right.
gonna happen.
Right.
But, like over time, things
Absolutely.
go
Right.
from baggy jeans to skinny jeans.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's just kind of like what happens.
Right.
Yeah.
But did you watch Tamar and Vince?
I did, but she got too much personality for me.
The
Sometimes.
two-
Yeah,
That's
so
a good way to
I've
put
seen
it.
it.
But
Don't get her.
No, I know where we going. Come on.
Don't come for Tamar.
Like,
Oh no!
I love Tamar.
Listen.
Hey,
I
Steven.
bring that up.
Shout out to Steven. Hey,
Oh,
Steven.
hey,
She wanted to get me all riled
I'm
up.
getting you riled up because I want to bring that up because one of the things she had made mention to is that how people grow.
That's
If
right.
you meet somebody y'all start dating whatever at 25, it's not going to be the same person at 35.
It's not.
Absolutely.
It's
And why would you want that same person at 35 that was at 25? It's going to be different.
Yeah.
Y'all grow and y'all change. And so I'm saying, like I said that to say, sometimes you have to allow room for that.
Yeah.
Because some people don't. It's like we together. This how I was, and we gonna always be this
Right.
way. And we like, whoa.
No, it's
Right.
So
not.
we ain't gonna never.
Right.
We ain't gonna never go to
It's
the
not
next
gonna rise.
level.
It's
We
not
just
gonna
gonna stay
rise.
right here.
Right.
No. So I don't know. Did you had, I didn't
No,
know
I
if you
was
had a
in
question. Okay.
agreement.
Oh. Amen.
I was in agreement.
Yes. Yes.
So and so anyway, then we also were talking about in terms of dating and stuff. Like, do you have any advice for some young black men who maybe they're just coming out, or maybe they're just just finding their way? Like, what kind of advice would you give them? Because I think one of the things, I have a 20-year-old daughter, and I think sometimes we miss talking to our teenagers about what's real life out here. It ain't no just people still dying, people still catching stuff, people still out here. So you got to be mindful of that. So do you have any advice? Because I know people are still a little reckless out here.
We're approaching 2018. It seems like things are just so much more different than they used to be. But I am learning that parents are a lot more accepting on their child coming out. But at the same time, I just encourage them to be themselves. That's the best thing you can do, is just to be yourself. All of this try to stay closeted and stuff like that, you just gonna fill your brain up with a bunch of air and it's just gonna pop when the pressure gets too heavy. Just be yourself. That's the best thing you can do, is just be yourself. And I encourage today's youth, gay, straight, whatever, education comes first. Education comes first. Without education, you have nothing. So educate yourself, go to school, get a degree. And even if you don't get a degree, go on a trade. Make sure that you have it together, because I don't think anybody wants to be with anybody who don't have really anything trying to go for themselves. And if you don't have the money, get the ambition. Nobody wants to be with anybody who doesn't have anything, who doesn't want anything. And if you don't have the funds, ambition will get you the funds.
So wait a minute, somebody has a question here. Tanya says, how do you balance dating and your career?
That's a hard one, because I'm at work sometimes 12 hours a day. So the best thing I could do is pretty much date someone who understands that I'm working, and that's pretty much it. Because it's like, you may not have that much going on for yourself, but that's when you bring it to my attention. When I'm working too much, and you're like, well, you always working. And my thing is, well, if you were doing something, it wasn't look like I'm at work.
Okay.
all.
But
Okay.
you home drinking all the orange
Right,
juice.
yeah, but if
Okay.
you're chill with my career, and I mean, even if you don't have a whole lot going for yourself at the moment, as long as you understand, then we'll be in a good place. I understand. Now, I will say this, and I know all of you have said this before. You will make time for what you want to make time for.
Slow clap.
Time will be made
Yes.
for what you want to make time for.
That's true.
These excuses are tools of incompetence.
preaching to y'all.
Cut it
I
out.
mean, that's a
Wait a
word.
minute.
That's
Hold
a word.
You was clapping and you missed the last part.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
He said excuses.
Excuses are tools of incompetence.
Yes, sir.
You will make time for whatever you
I'm
want
about to
make
throw my
time
whole
for.
shoe.
I'm self-employed, so I'm gonna make a way. I'm just
Right.
client. No, I got something to do.
Right.
No,
right.
I'm going on a date tonight. I'm going
Right.
I mean,
I got to leave
do?
early.
I ain't even got to give you no excuse. I'm
Right.
gone.
Right.
But I'm chilling. I don't have time right now.
See?
It's true.
I mean,
you said that last
said-
I don't know,
Yes.
several times.
Yes.
All the time.
Yes, because I'm also very busy. And I know that dating is like having a part-time job, particularly when you're online. You got to look at the different things.
Dating is a full-time job.
See?
It can be, yeah.
See? Like if you're really, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
particularly just the looking part. But then once you actually, but you make time for what you want. And if you want somebody in your life, if you want to be, like I basically have 3 jobs. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But, and I'm not actively dating right now. But when I was, you make time. You know what I mean? Like we were still doing the show. I was still working full time. But you find a way, particularly if you're interested in the person. You know what I mean? You carve out time and you make it work.
Well, not only that person has to mentally invest themselves in your career. You have to mentally invest yourself in that career. I mean, hey, if I know you got something to do, we dating, I'm gonna go with you and see what you're doing.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Because
Come see
that's
what I'm
usually that's the thing for me. Confidence. When I see someone in their element, that's a turn on right there. So if I see you, grading papers, if I see you working on a presentation,
Wait a minute though. If you got that chicken on the grill,
you know what I'm saying?
and you
like
doing
if
this,
you're if
you
you're
saying
in
that's
your
my
element.
chicken?
Are you still at Popeye?
I'm still at Popeye.
No, she said on the grill. She didn't
On
say
the
in the
grill.
grease.
Oh, okay.
She said on
But
the
I'm
grill.
just saying, I'm gonna tell you something.
You know what I mean? Like when you see
It's
your
the truth.
person.
When I'm gonna tell you something. When I see my husband coach his football
See, that's
team,
what I'm saying.
Uh-oh.
hey babe,
And that makes you understand. You understand
Right.
now. You're not just like, well, what you doing? And you
right,
that
right, you
side
was out
of it.
here.
You see the other side.
You
See
see
what's
them,
going on.
right, and you see them, and they look.
Bring the baby some Gatorade.
Right.
Put yourself in what he
Right.
doing. A
Bring the
little
baby
bit.
some Gatorade.
Some bottled
Right.
water. Something.
Right, right.
You know?
Yeah.
Right. No,
As
you're
a-
right.
Yeah, as a therapist, one
it
of
shows
the
attention.
therapists that I follow, is a couples therapist. I also do couples therapy, and she talks about how when you first meet someone, that it's not so much about knowing for sure that this is your person. It's about knowing for sure that how you feel about that person, and then being curious about them. You know what I mean? Being
That's a good
curious
point.
about who are they? What do
So
they do? What do
that's
they
all right.
like?
So does that then keep you present in the moment, opposed to always looking so far
That's
down
right.
that you really like?
That's right. You
and
miss.
Do you find that for you in dating that you're already down the road thinking about what could be, or you stay present in the moment?
Oh no, I think ahead.
You do?
I definitely think ahead. I do.
But
That's
there's a
what all the
difference between
questions are
thinking
for.
ahead and being ahead. Like, because you could see someone and sort of see, like, this is someone who could be there down the road. But you got to get to know them. Like, you got to be present enough in the now to be curious enough about them, so to fill in the blanks to see what's going to get you down the road.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, I totally get that.
Then you have to take your time.
Yeah,
Definitely take your
because
time.
it's a process.
It's a
It is a
process.
process.
And I think that
feel
we don't like
rush.
it. Yeah.
We rush.
And that's what I mean. But
Because we want the
then-
end goal.
Yeah.
But
today.
that's when we were talking about just even online dating and how you get to that next level of now I see my, hear my questions, we chit chatting about that. But then what's the next, how do we get to the next step? Because we
Right.
were asking that last time about how do we move from we just texting to,
Right.
okay, now we're going to meet up, how we going to, so that, because that's a part of the process of
I'm
online dating,
not
right?
texting you past 2 days.
Okay.
I'm just not. I don't need no pen pals. I
Right.
just don't. I'm not texting you past 2 days. You like me. I made a joke at work. I said I'm grown. You like me. I like you. We together. Because I
Right.
got time
Now we together.
for all these extras. But no, it's like I mean it, but I don't. But
Right,
at the same
right.
time,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Like, come on,
Right.
like how much time are we going to waste all of that?
Right.
Good morning. Good afternoon. How are you? How was your day? That same repetitive
All the
stuff
emojis,
every
things
single
that-
Right,
day.
all the emojis.
You've done all of this. You done FaceTime and stuff. Okay, we know it's not catfish.
Right.
Let's go meet in a public place,
Right.
sit down, and have an adult conversation.
Exactly. No, you're right.
That's how it works. So if I'm dealing with a person that I've met on social media. And after like 2 or 3 days and neither one of us, or I've reached out to meet with you and nothing's transpired, I just kind of just be like, nah,
Right.
I'm good. Because we're wasting time.
Yeah.
Because what you're doing is you're filling in those empty blanks with me with somebody else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
You're not focusing in just on me, which is fine. I get that because when you date around. But it's like, oh, I got so many in my phone.
Right.
I don't know which
Everybody
one to go
swiping.
meet up
Just
with.
swiping.
So, Child has got to wait his turn after you done went out with all of these other people. You know what I'm saying? He wants to be picked last. So
Right.
just figure out what you want. If you decide you like that person, meet up. Let's sit down, have a conversation, and go from there.
Right. Because I think that's where some people it kind of stops there. But you have to know your limits. You have to know where you say, you know what, this is. I'm
Lord,
not
my
here.
mama up here. Lord,
Oh, look at your mother. What she
Lord,
say?
mama.
Hey, Mom.
Hey,
My
mom.
mama up here watching.
What she saying? What my baby up there doing?
He talking about.
He telling all his business.
That's my aunt. That's mama's sister.
Are they in Baltimore or they down south?
They're down south. I just left them yesterday.
Hey, mom. Hey,
I
auntie.
just got back last night.
Right. So they got to see what their baby doing. So one of the so here's the next topic.
Mom, if you got any questions,
Uh-oh.
you want to join in on the conversation.
Mom, you might want.
404-436-1277.
She gonna call in?
Mom. Call in.
Hey, baby.
Don't he said don't do it. But no, that is a good. We should repeat that though. The call in number if you want to join the conversation and chat it up.
Call in number.
You can dial 404-436-1277. So we also are talking about some non-traditional things as well today.
Uh-oh, do I need to?
No, don't excuse yourself. You in it now. You said you was down for it,
We
so
apologize
whatever.
in advance, Mom.
And so, right. Mom, close your eyes. And your ears.
In your ears.
Right. No, but we were talking about non-traditional and what, I don't even know what that means anymore because people out here, non-traditional, I guess anything other than a heterosexual relationship. People are classified as non-traditional, but just out here, people, this whole culture of hooking up, what do you think about that? Like, where is it, especially in the gay community, do you think it's more prevalent in the gay community or do you think it's less or about the same as heterosexual?
I've never been heterosexual.
So you can't speak to that one.
I can't really speak to that. No, I'm just kidding. But I can't. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I ain't never hooked up before. But it's like fulfilling some type of void. It's like, well, I can't find the right person or settle down with the right person. So what I'll do is I'll just settle for sex. I guess it'll just help for now. And it's like you settle for sex so much that you didn't settle for sex too much, and you done too much now. You can go from hooking up to hoeing. So
Wait a minute.
There's a difference.
Right from there to there.
There's a difference. But everybody, I don't care what nobody says. You gotta have your whole moment. Have your whole moment.
I was about to say.
Do it.
Rotation. You got to put the rotation in.
Go ahead, just have your whole moment. Get it out there. Do you protect yourself, and then move forward. Because what's gonna happen is you sitting there waiting on the right one, and then you gonna meet the right one, and then you gonna think, I ain't never had no whole moment. And I'm just having sex with the same person, and I ain't experienced this person or this person. So go ahead and do it and get it out the way. But I definitely think hooking up is it's more prevalent in the gay community.
You think so?
I think it is.
But I would disagree a little bit because I think that having been on both sides of the fence, I think particularly now because it's so much easier to hook up because you have the online swiping, I think it's easier and it's more out in the open that straight folks are hooking. I mean, straight folks have always just done the hookup.
Right.
And I think stereotypically, we think of, gay folks doing the hookup. But I think nowadays, I think more and more people are doing the hotation because it's easier. You know what I mean? And it may be that, I'm in between or I just came out of something. I'm not really interested in getting into something full-fledged, but I'm just going to do the hookup. I have the hotation. And so I don't think that it's as prevalent. I think it's probably balanced now because it's just so much easier.
The weird part to me is the NSAs and the FWBs. You know what those are.
Yeah. No strings
attached.
attached.
Oh, I'm like, look, hold on. Let me go to
These are
my
the two
notes.
married folks. They don't know.
Yeah.
I've been out the game for a long time.
Yeah, these are the two married
All
folks.
I need to go to my
happen.
notes.
And it's
What
like
was the other one? NSA?
NSA and
FWB.
Friends
With
with
benefits.
Friends with
Oh,
benefits.
okay, gotcha.
benefits.
I did know that,
You
but
find-
not really, babe. You know what I'm saying? I gotta put it.
She
This,
just learned it.
I just learned it.
But
Too much disclaimers. Go ahead.
I feel like those things happen And you can get so sexually attached to a person that you become jealous if they decide they want to date somebody. It's the weirdest thing ever in life. It's like, I only hear from you when you just want to hook up. But as soon as I say I'm in a relationship, I get this long paragraph. Like, where did this come from?
Right.
You said NSA or FWV.
Yeah.
Me. That's what you said. So why are we going into the LOVE now?
Right.
Why is that
LOVE.
That wasn't a part of the
That wasn't part of
my
it.
thing is, if you want to date, we're going to date, and we're not going to have sex. Because if I want a relationship and we decide we're going to date, I don't want to have sex because sex can ruin things. Sex
No, I
can ruin
agree.
things.
It can.
So we're not going to date. We're just going to hook up. That's what it's going to be. Don't cross the lines. That's where the issues come in at, too. Crossing the lines.
And I wonder if
So-
then. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
I'm curious to what that is. So is that like you just have your friend that you date that you have a good time with? That's not somebody you see or trying to be in a long-term committed relationship with?
Well, friends with benefits is really only supposed to be friends with benefit. Friends with benefit is you just sleeping with whoever.
Right.
But when you have a friend with benefit, that's just pretty much you doing your thing, I'm doing my thing, but we're just going to sleep with each other. We're not going to sleep with everybody else. Does that work out often? No, it doesn't. I don't care what anybody says. Somebody, one of you two,
Somebody
is sleeping with other people. That's just how it is.
So one of the things that, maybe we can kind of discuss is, people being clear about what the rules are, because I think a lot of time, women, I feel like, especially women always say, I just want to know the truth. You need to just tell them, be honest. But as soon as someone is honest, it's really not, then you mad.
You can't handle.
You can't, right. So either you want the truth or you don't want the truth. And so you can't have it all. And so but I do say that it's better just to be upfront. So then let that person choose instead of you choosing for them that we gonna be in this and I'm still gonna be doing this. But we ain't ever discussed that. But we got all these different relationships going on. But I'm only telling you this. Like it's not really a clear line of communication when people are dealing like open relationships. Like people need to be clear,
Right.
about what are there's rules
Absolutely.
of engagement.
Absolutely. There's rules for a lot of different levels. I think, like he was saying, as far as the FWB situation. One time I was in a situation where I was considered a special friend, and I was like, I don't even know what that means. And I had to, right? And I had to understand. You know what I mean?
Said, I ain't know I was a side
I didn't
piece.
like. What does that mean? But I was, I was like, I was a comfort
And you were like,
zone.
I'm a special friend.
All right. I was like,
I'm a special friend. We're like, no, you don't want to
right.
be.
But that was part of that person's sort of lifestyle of like, okay, I'm gonna have this person that I'm gonna sleep with, I'm gonna have this person that I hang out with, and come over, take a nap, get a good meal, have good conversation, but I'm gonna go back over here when I want this and this. But I think a lot of people are oftentimes in open relationships and don't want to call it that.
You think that's selfish?
It's so selfish.
But it doesn't have to be.
Stingy.
Having been in an open relationship, it doesn't have to be selfish and stingy. And I think that's the misconception that people have of open relationships, is that you're doing it because you just want to, be selfish and you want to do all these things. But I think if you do it there's literally a book called The Ethical Slut. And there's a whole subpopulation, if you will, of folks that are having, non-monogamy, right? And we often will call it that, so that we don't get hung up on the fact that it's an open relationship, because there's a connotation that comes with that. But there's rules of engagement with it, right? And it's two grown folk in relationship deciding how they want their relationship to look. And they're doing it for a particular reason, because a lot of what we're saying when we talk about, okay, I want this person because they meet these criteria, but then they're going to fall short over here because maybe they don't have the look that I want. They don't have and so people often think that it's selfish because, like, oh, well, you're trying to get all of your needs met. Well, aren't we all?
Yeah.
And so when we have an open relationship, it's two people saying, here are our different needs, and we're agreeing openly to have a conversation about how we're going to have those needs met together as a unit. So nobody's sneaking around. We're clear about what that means, because an open relationship doesn't always mean sex.
Oh. See, I never thought of it.
See,
It doesn't always mean
and
sex.
that's how
And
I
that's we always go to, you're sleeping around.
right.
It doesn't always mean sex.
Yeah, I can't get with it.
And it's not
That's
for
not
everybody.
I know, and I'll be the first to admit I can't get with it. Hear
Somebody
me.
wants to know what the name of this book was.
Oh, what's the name of the book?
Ethical slut.
Ethical Slut.
I don't remember. I don't remember the author, but
Just type it in Amazon.
yeah, no,
Ethical
but it
Slut.
literally it's
Hey,
almost
Chris,
like
I love you.
it's a guidebook almost for how to have a non-monogamous relationship in a way that is quote unquote ethical.
Now, see, I've been hit up online before, social media, dating sites, about relationships. Like, okay, we just want you to come hang out with us. We have this role in bed, and then we wanted to bring it. Look, isn't there a site or something you can go
Absolutely.
to pick out a third party?
Absolutely.
Because this ain't the place now.
Right.
My page
Not
don't
my
say
DM.
that.
Say what you want.
Okay, don't
It's not in your bio.
Don't be trying to fill
Interested
the
in being a
blanks with me.
third. It doesn't say that.
No, I'm
Doesn't say in
not
the profile.
interested. That's not my thing. I'm not interested in that at all. My thing is this. Now, I do understand that where you were coming from, I never thought of it in that way. The way I was thinking about it was, okay, well, you guys are in a relationship, and if that ain't working the way it's working, then why are you trying to, color inside the lines with somebody else? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
if it ain't working, let it go and just go try and make it work with somebody else. But in order for sometimes in order for couples to work, it has to be a third party. And it just sounded like the weirdest thing ever to me. And I'm just like,
But some people, I've heard people where it has worked for them. I mean, I know people personally who it has worked for them where they brought in a third party. I mean, they're family. To them, they're family. Now, to others, it may seem weird, but to them, it's working. I mean, they even got a baby in the mix of it. So for some,
It's called a triad.
I know, but it works for some people. I'm saying as for me in my house,
I'm about to say my
I'm not interested.
okay.
Because I'm just a very jealous person. I'm jealous. I'm just saying
Yeah.
I'm jealous, and I would not want to share in that way. But I know that, again, I just think that if you are, I think that for people who are in those, they'll tell you that we have clear guidelines of this is what it is, and but once somebody steps outside,
right.
then that's the problem.
That's a conversation.
That's the conversation.
But it actually made my marriage stronger for a period of time.
Did it?
It brought us right because we weren't doing it because it was a situation where it was like, well, we're not working, so let's go and be with other people. It wasn't that. I was coming out while I was married. And it was my husband's idea. Obviously, from a man's perspective, you're thinking, oh, he wants to see two women. Da, da. But no, he wanted me to be able to explore. And I honestly felt like it was one of the best things that we could have done because it was I was able to come out within a marriage, and it was safe, and it was supportive. But it brought us closer together because he saw me getting happier, finding myself. We would talk about it. We were very open.
somebody being supportive while
And he was totally supportive. You know what I mean? So we were learning about each other. And we would talk about dates that I went on. And it just heightened the level of communication.
I'm so stingy.
And that's what I'm saying. It's not for everyone. It's really not for everyone. You have to, but we also had clear ground rules, and we would talk all the time. You know what I mean? We would talk about jealousy. We would talk about, because I'm a big, time is a big thing for me. So if I'm not getting quality time, that's an issue. So if I felt like he was out and not coming home in time for dinner or whatever, because we would have those kinds of conversations. So it really helped our relationship from the standpoint that it really brought us together to talk more about stuff that we weren't necessarily talking about before. And then the community that I was in, it was the same thing, because I met there's a lot of people who have a lot of different relationship structures, right? And it's not about necessarily being selfish or stingy. It's about how do we all get our needs met? Again, not just sexually. Sometimes it's, sexual, but it's how do we live a fulfilling life on our terms?
I'm sorry, what was your question?
Josh would like to know when is it time to ask the other person that you're the only person? When is it time to ask the other person, the only person that you're sleeping with, if they're sleeping with anybody else?
When is it time to ask
like,
them
when
if they're
should you ask them?
sleeping?
So like, is this like a
else.
friends with benefit? You should call
Right.
it Josh. But is this like a friends with benefit type situation? It's like we're not really in a committed relationship. But
Right.
I'm just curious to know if you're sleeping with someone else, or is this somebody that you're in a committed relationship with that you have a question like, are you?
Yeah, because
messing
where
around?
are you going in the relationship? Because if we're just dating and we're not exclusive, then maybe there's no reason to ask.
And
But
question.
And what is
Yeah.
the result of the answer?
what are we doing?
Right.
If it's I am, if I'm not. Like,
but I wonder because people are trying to define it so soon. Like, why does there have to be a clear definition right away? Can you of a relationship? You meet somebody and already, I guess, depending on what age you are, that's another thing.
And the connection that you have.
Right. But you all like a lot. I feel like a lot of times we go from A to Z. You know, you're already thinking. Again, it depends on where you are in your life, what you've been through, and all of that. But I mean, like, I don't think there's a true timeline. Like,
right?
Honestly,
no, there isn't.
But I mean, I feel like there's, people just like, oh, well, if we did, so this is the next step, and now we're gonna do this, and now we're gonna do that. I mean, honestly, people would think. I met my husband. We dated for like 6 months and got married. So we got married within a year.
Hey,
but that was where we were at that time, and so
it's a feeling.
It's a feeling, and I knew, but that's what I'm saying. But there's no timeline. So if I was going by what traditional or oh my goodness, you need
what
time
you're supposed to do.
Y'all need to live together first. Y'all need to do this. Like all of these different things that people put on. Everybody is different,
right? And so I think to the question, it's a matter of where are you with your feel, like check in with yourself and sort of know like, okay, I'm having feelings for this person and I want to be in an exclusive with this person. So then you have the conversation. It's not a matter of 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 days. It's a matter of
months. I need a rent.
Right. It's a matter of we seem to be moving
together.
Right.
Wait a minute, but so Tanya just brought up, and if you ask a question, be prepared for the answer. Because that's another thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then know what you want from it.
Right. Then
know what you want from it. Because if the person says, I'm sleeping with other people and I don't want to stop, and you're ready for an exclusive relationship, you may have to move on.
Right. So then you have to make a decision. But at least give that person the option to do it. So I think if you are asking the question, be prepared for the answer and be okay with whether you decide to say, hey, I'm just gonna stick it out and hopefully they change.
That's right.
Or they decide.
Right. For both answers, like if that's something that you're okay with, if that's something you can live with, and you can have a conversation, because it may be a conversation of this is what I'm doing for right now, but I see myself in the future being in this committed relationship.
But I'm not ready.
But I'm not ready. What does that mean? Is this something you want to stick with or stick out and give him or her some time to get themselves together? Like
absolutely.
You have to move, but you can't ask the question and just stay. And do nothing.
Right. And that, again, that goes back to, and even your example of, y'all getting married within a year, we have to get to the point where we move away from the shoulds and think about what makes sense for us. Right. Within reason, not because we're just jumping and we're crazy and we're not thinking, but let's go with what we're feeling and go with what we're thinking and make some sound choices. And it may not be quote unquote traditional. It may not look like what everybody's doing on Instagram. It may not look like what everybody's doing. It may not. But even within the gay community,
the hashtag relationship.
Everybody got a hashtag relationship goal. But I'm saying,
because for women, like for us, it's it's the whole U-Haul thing, right? Where it's like if you're dating 2 months later, folks are expecting y'all to be moved in together, engaged in 3 months, like because women tend to move fast, but we don't have to. Like that's just cliche.
Yeah, my favorite word is organic. I like the most natural way of doing stuff without throwing this out and throwing that out. If each other like each other, and it just kind of moves from there. If you just be like, well, I settled a lot too, and I'm getting older, and I want to settle down. Stuff just don't move in your time all the time. You just have to wait and see how it happens or how it pans out. Some people get married early within 6 months. Sometimes it takes people 10 years to get engaged.
Right.
It just happens the way it's supposed to happen.
10 years is a bit much.
I've seen it. I watch Maury.
Oh,
So, wow.
You are not the father.
I've seen it.
But 10 years is a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time. It is. It's a long time.
I mean,
but it depends on your age. So you could have been you could have got together at 20 and decided you could get married at 30.
That's true.
Because
you're in school and stuff like
you're
that.
Still young.
Yeah, and that's another thing about I think that do you feel like getting you meeting somebody at a young age and then y'all together for some time. I mean, sometimes it work. I've only seen it work in a couple. What's that?
I was making sure
your mic is on. I mean, no, you can speak to that. Just get together.
This one was like 10.
Yeah, because I've been with my husband since I was 13, 14 years old, and we've been married for 6 years, but I've been with him since I was 13. So I completely agree with, it's completely different. It's one of those things, like even going back to the beginning of our conversation, having to be open and willing to grow and change together. Because God knows I'm not who I was at 13 years old, and now that's he.
Thank goodness.
Thank God, yes.
Because that would
So,
be really sad.
It's right. It took a lot, and it still takes a lot. It's constant work, each and every day because we're changing and things are different. But I think getting young, if I had to do it again, and my husband already knows how I feel about this, I would definitely wait. Like, there's just so much life that we didn't get a chance to experience before we had a life together.
You're in the whole moment.
See, this is what I'm saying.
Wait a minute.
This is what I'm saying. Because you trying to get me in trouble. Gary, don't listen to
Listen,
Gary. Because Gary knows you. So, look.
no, but you know what? I wanted to, no, let me tell you something. I know my
Gary's
grandma.
on the side of shade.
Right, just a side. No,
It's a
but
big side.
that was one thing my grandmother. One thing she told me is that now I got married at 30, so I felt like that gave me. And I wasn't out here hoeing, but I'm saying like it was. I think that gave me enough time to grow up in a lot of ways. And my grandmother always told me you don't want to go from your parents' house straight into your husband's house,
Right.
because you need that time to grow and understand who you are as an individual. Now, what was different for me is that then I had my daughter at 23, so there's certain things that you still get stopped in mid-air when you got a kid.
Yeah.
So it's still, room, you need to grow up in other ways. But I'm just saying, I think everybody needs a time for growth. And now your partner is willing to, y'all can grow together and y'all can get some, but that's a lot of work to do all of that within the relationship.
And I completely agree with you.
Because we all come with
I
stuff.
completely agree with Grandma.
Right.
So do I.
Before Chalice came throwing his shade.
Right.
Yes. No, I agree with that because I feel like our relationship was two children going from home to make it to playing house, pretty much in a sense. Like, it was so much growing up that there were so many things we were naive about and just completely ignorant to that were hiccups in our relationship.
Right.
But, we worked through those and still working through those things. But I think if you had that time to kind of be an adult by yourself and know yourself, it would have definitely helped us.
Because I feel like when when you're in relationships, all of that of who you really are come out. Because at first, like I think Chris Rock would say, you meet the representative. That's who you meet in the beginning. But then once you get to know each other, y'all spend more time together. You get to know who that person really is, and saying, you know what? Oh, you really don't pick your drawers up. Right, you don't pick your drawers up, or you don't do this. Oh, wait a minute, you don't clean the bath. Like, you start to see those things. So the real question is, am I okay with this?
Yeah, if you choose to deal with it.
Right. And then, then fine. I would say, you know what? I can overlook that. But I can't overlook this. And I think you feel the same way as far as setting boundaries. Like, hey, this is a deal breaker. I'm okay with this, but this right here, nah. I mean, and how do you approach that, though? How do you...
The Cancer side of me is really bossy sometimes, unfortunately, but still sensitive. But... I mean, I grew up in the country. Like, my grandmother raised me to do things certain type of way. So when I moved to the city and I see certain stuff, I'm like, that's normal? Yeah. But I had to learn to break myself out of that because how I was raised, they were raised however they were raised. And both of us have to respect that about each other. So you might not pick your drawers up, but I might pick my drawers up, which means I'm gonna just pick your drawers up, and we're just gonna go from there. And I might not do something that you don't like as well.
Right.
So, but I mean, I don't want to sit down and have a whole conversation
About the
it,
drawers.
bro. I mean, about anything. Well, I don't do this, and I don't do that, and I don't like this and that. I mean, it just kind of comes with time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. We don't have to go do a whole...
We're not gonna do a whole
list
list.
Checklist.
You don't do this and I don't do that.
You have
Yeah.
to do an assessment.
But I mean, is that okay? Should we be doing assessments? This one probably got a whole... I already know, because you got dealing with this one right here. She's like, I'm going to need you to look at it. Because that's just how she operates.
Number 3 said.
Right. No, but wait a minute, you forgot 1B
And it's,
and
and
B.
it's highlighted.
Right.
Section 9.
But we all approach relationships different. Like, there's certain things. I think if you've been in enough of them, we know what we want.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
then I also would say sometimes we know what we don't want, but we don't know what we want. So
Wait, say
I
that
can
one more
tell
time. Run it
you
back,
know what
DJ.
we know what we don't want. So you know you don't want nobody with no job.
Right.
You know you don't want this. I don't want that. But you don't always know what you do
That
want.
falls in line with people that's like, oh, I ain't got no type. Everybody got
Right?
type.
Yeah.
And I
right,
think-
You
right.
got a type because you know what you don't like.
Do you have a type?
I definitely have a type.
What's your type?
My type is ambitious. and fun. I want you to have ambition, and I want you to be fun. You ain't got to be the nicest looking person, as long as you got all your teeth. And
But
your
you
body
got to be able to look at them.
But I do want to be able to look at. Yeah, I'm a teeth.
If you can get their hair together,
I'm a teeth
you can
person.
get your. Oh yeah, your teeth got to be
the
there.
hair. That ain't no problem. But I'm a teeth person. You ain't got to be the flyest, but be decent. But I like to have fun, so I don't. My main thing is laughing and joking and having a good time. That's how I am. I want to take trips. I like amusement parks. I like I like a lot of stuff. I like going to the park. I like going to the movies. I like walking around the mall. Like stuff like that is fun to me. But all of that stiff, staying home, watch football, and smoke a cigar. I don't want to do that.
That's not fun to me.
But
you have a type.
Yeah, I do have a type.
Look. You see how she went into it? You see how she went there? Did you see how her face is lit up?
I do.
I do have a type.
Because I think because I wanted to go back to what you were saying about knowing what you want, and I think for me it took me a while, having coming from a divorce, where I married fairly young, my early 20s, and then divorcing in my mid 30s. I had to figure out what is it that I actually want, because I grew up during my marriage. You know what I mean? And so then really figuring out like, what do I want? And then my type changed over, you know what I mean? Like figuring out like, okay, what do I have a type? And sort of figuring all that out, and now sort of being clear. And I do have a list, and I do an assessment, but that's just because I'm a social worker.
The list gets longer. The older we get, the list
Don't laugh, Diamond. I mean, come on, I do it. You see the list.
I do an assessment, and it's sort of in the same vein of like
what an assessment.
But it's in the same vein of asking the question. Right. But I also want to, like, because I'm a social worker, I'm listening for certain things and looking for certain things as it relates to how are you getting along with your family? Because that's something that we don't.
Is there a mental health?
Is there a mental health diagnosis?
That's how I know a person. I like questions and answers.
So you will be okay with
Are you
assessment?
On medication? Like what?
So what
are the medications?
I'm just saying, if he come with an assessment saying answer these 21 questions.
No, that's an application.
Right? Yeah, I don't have an application. I do an assessment.
Wait a minute, what's that difference between application and assessment?
Because an application is
on paper.
Right. Because as a professional,
I'm not gonna say assessment.
I'm just going to talk. I'm saying
conversation.
Assessment.
Okay,
it's an assessment.
I'm gonna say
damn that.
Right. Can you imagine? She gonna have her glasses on.
What's your trauma history?
See, that's what I'm saying. That's a part of the assessment.
But you know why?
What did you say?
What's your trauma history?
One setting?
No, it's over time.
Okay.
It's over time. But you know why I ask about trauma? I am serious. And you know why I ask about trauma history?
Fill this out.
Because trauma, it shows up in the relationship, and particularly because one in four women have been sexually abused in some way, shape, or form.
Hashtag me too.
Hashtag me too. So because I understand that, I want to know, if you don't have to give me the details, but I like to know because it's going to show up in our relationship.
No, that's true.
It's going to show up, and I want to be prepared for what's going to show up.
No,
I'm just saying.
I get it. But I wonder, do you find, let me ask y'all both a question. Do you find that, it's different because for Victoria, she came out during her marriage, and you have always been out, right? For the most part.
I don't think I ever came out.
You were just
I was just chilling. I ain't got
right. I ain't got time for no game.
Look, at 9, he was like, I ain't got time.
No, I asked that because I was wondering if, when you thought about what you wanted, like, do you want to get married? Do you want a family? Do you want, like, how often are you there in that mindset when you're dating? Like, is that something that's
always been in the back of my head, even when I was a child. When I even recognized that I was gay and this is who I was going to be, even early on 13, 14, I knew I wanted that picket fence relationship with the animals and the kids. I always like that. But like I said, my upbringing is differently than a lot of people's. But my grandmother got married, I think, twice. My mom has never been married. My dad got married. Nobody else has been married. Nobody that I know of in my family, not my aunt. Like, really? Not really like that. So I always kind of like wanted the opposite of what everybody else had. So I've always wanted the marriage and everything. They done made it legal and stuff. And come on, guys, take advantage of it. You can't just be like,
just out here
gonna date for the rest of your life and just be with, come on.
Yeah, everybody wants somebody to be with for the long haul.
Yeah.
Everybody.
And do you think about that as well?
It took me a while just because I have been with one person for so long and had already having, the house, and I already had that picket fence vision. So it took me a while, and I really just got to the point now, 6-7 years out, I've just now gotten to the point where I'm actually like, I could be married again. But it took me a while because I was,
Like, I ain't never doing that again.
Yeah, like the first few months, you're like, oh my God, I'm never getting married. And then later you're like, well, because then you realize like you do want to be with somebody, and it doesn't, because initially I was like, well, it doesn't have to be marriage. We could just be together. But now I'm like, I'm open to that now. Yeah, I'm open to that.
It's like that hangover you had the night before. I ain't never drinking again. I'm just not. And then you be right back drinking.
Right. Well, no, hold on, because hey, chat, let me just tell you this. This one talking about something she had decided
for 2018.
2018 she won't drinking again.
Listen,
I was
that
like,
was real short lived.
That's like a 2-second thought.
Yes, less than 24 hours later.
30-second rule.
Right.
I drink. I need the whole bottle.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but I think that, and I think we find that the reason why we wanted to do 2 parts is because we wanted to, one, talk about relationships from the heterosexual perspective and also from the homosexual perspective, but realizing that it's so similar, and a lot of relationships are relationships.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that people think that people do things because they want to get away from one thing or the other, and that's not really the case.
But that's why I like when you said heterosexual and homosexual. I always consider myself to just be homosexual. Gay is cool, but like it takes you out of that sexual realm that everybody else fits into. Heterosexual, homosexual, bisexual, it's all sexual. But when you're just like you're gay, it's like you got this flag and you just like, it's cool, I get it, because some people have struggled, and gotten picked on and bullied and stuff like that. But like, the relationships are all the same. They're all the same, whether you like men, whether you like women, whether women on women, whatever you like, it's all the same.
Because people are people.
Yeah, they are. And everybody come with their stuff.
Everybody comes with their stuff.
I was definitely one of those people that was ignorant to it, and after talking with V, I'm like, okay.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, and my mom was the same
Everybody
way.
goes through this.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with my mom, and she was talking about somebody that she was dating at the time, and I was telling her about something that I was going through, and she was like, "Dag," she was like, "It's really the same." I was like, "Yeah, it's the same. People are people."
Yeah. And I think we realize that, and I think that's why when people say it's people are different, you outcast people because they don't prefer what you prefer or whatever the case may be, that we realize that we are just people, we're human.
People out here looking for love.
People want to be loved and love other people and share a life with somebody.
I got a question though, and I get this a lot. Like, what do you think when people say, "Don't look for love, let it find you"? Like, what does that mean?
I've heard that before, and I think that kind of comes from, to me, like from the Bible in terms of the man finding. That's where I think it kind of derives from. I don't think that's where it is now, but I mean, I think that where it derives from that whole a man finding a wife and that kind of thing. So women shouldn't be out here looking for nobody. Let the man find you. I kind of think that's where it comes from. And so I think now why things are considered negative. What? Negative what, Diamond? What?
That's not it.
What is it? I said that's where I think it derived from.
I felt.
Well, what
I feel
is
like
it?
Completely. Yeah, I don't agree with that one.
So where do you
Where
think
do you think it came from?
I don't know where it originated, but I think that phrase, that statement is, don't try to force something to happen that doesn't happen. Like Chelsea was saying, his word is organic.
Okay.
Like
Virtual high five. That's it.
Like if I have a friend, so like say if Chelsea and I are friends, we're friends, and that's all the relationship is, and organically we develop feelings, and that feelings turn into a relationship, then that's what it is.
Okay.
But if he's clearly said he's my friend, and we go into this friendship, and I'm like, but I want you to love me. No, you gotta love me. I need you to love me.
But that's why I'm telling you it comes, and that's why I'm saying it comes from that.
But even it doesn't have to be from that, just that perspective. It could be the male too. Even if he
he was saying, where do you think that comes? I'm saying, to me, I think that's where it kind of came from, where women, instead of women out here trying to find, you supposed to wait, sit back, let somebody find you. I'm not saying, I'm talking traditionally, let God send you the person you want. In that sense, I'm not saying that that's not the case, because I totally agree.
I understand.
But you know what I'm saying? But I'm saying that's where I think it kind of came, where people like, your grandmother say, "Oh girl, you ain't gotta be out here chasing nobody. Let them, that kind of thing."
Yes, I think that. Well, I think that.
I
think you cleaned it up. I think you cleaned it up real good.
Okay, I had to be clear.
You cleaned it up good.
I know, Chris makes me give clarity. I get it.
So, also, I think that this is a big problem that y'all have.
Who? Black people? Oh,
people.
I
was gonna say when y'all women, but guys may do it, I guess. is that when you meet somebody and you say, look, well, I'm dating to marry. So if you ain't trying to get married, then when you put that out there early on, I think that's not letting it find you. Like you trying to get married, no. You trying to get married, and
Just going down the street.
Yeah, it's right, and it's you gotta just let things normally happen.
Yeah. No,
and
I
just
totally
see how
agree
it
with that.
is, and like she was saying, somebody that you meet may end up just being better as your friend.
Right.
But y'all could have started the dating process and the assessment, and then she realized he's better or she's better as a
You're gonna
friend.
find out earlier from the
Well, of course,
Within 30 days.
she finds out the first dinner, the first date. You know what I mean?
Did you say 30 days? 30 days
Well,
after assessment.
Within that probationary
No, I
period.
totally right. It's a probation period.
Do you agree that you find out the truth about a person when you're friends with them rather than going into a romantic relationship? So, for instance, like if you talk to somebody online dating and your situation is that I'm looking for somebody to date that I want to be in a relationship with. The lies that they tell you at the beginning are completely different from the person that you find as a friend, because that person doesn't, they're vulnerable at, when in a friendship. It's like, I can tell you this because you're not really judging me like
with
that.
no
because we ain't
expectation.
dating. So I can tell you about this person that I was just with yesterday.
Absolutely.
Or blah. And then that's when you learn a person. Those when the truths come out. I feel like that application, that fake, 30-day process is when you all instantly go in for the relationship.
Well, they go in 30 days. They gonna make themselves with you.
See, now wait a minute, you just said that's a word right there.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing where people are making themselves be
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Who they
think you want them to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Hashtag I am the relationship goal.
And then why is that your relationship goal to want to be something that somebody to be the hashtag? That's my relationship goal. I want a relationship goal. But that's what I'm saying. Like that makes absolutely no sense. And I think one of the things I will say when we dealing with non-traditional and that sort of thing is that I feel like now we in a space now where women have more power, and men have more. You have more power to be honest and free. Now you can choose not to be,
Right.
but now I feel like there's a space now where I can say, because I know they were talking about She's Gotta Have It. I haven't seen it yet.
I've seen it.
Yes.
It was awesome.
And so,
I've seen it.
so now there's a space for that though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where people are like, look, I can make these
Yes.
kind of,
that artsy man, he was.
don't say nothing because I haven't seen it. Stop it. Stop it.
She hasn't seen it.
Stop
That's the
it.
case too.
I did see the first one, but it's not the same.
I never saw the movie.
Oh,
I think
really?
I seen the movie.
Me either.
I just
But
watched
but
the
don't
show.
you understand? Like, do you agree that like now there's a space for that where
I
before
do.
we didn't have that?
I do.
It is.
Or
It is.
was it there, but it just wasn't as public?
That's it.
Because I had somebody tell me the same situation. Like Grandpa always got the bad rep for having the little
That's
side
right.
chick down the street, but Grandma had her jump off too.
That's right.
So now
Grandma's
it's
just saying no.
Oh,
That's
that's
right.
the other side. Oh, okay.
But I'm saying, but why Grandpa had to have him right across the street? That's my only thing.
Because just like a male, he tried.
He tried. Like, why you got a whole family?
Right.
Come on now.
Right.
So Grandma got to sneak. She got to go to a whole nother town. Like
That's the double standard.
Exactly.
Because at grandma's funeral, it's not no God. They're like, no,
Right.
what, take
Because
me.
everybody on the low.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody's saying nothing. But but if there's another family across the street and they come to the funeral, everybody gonna know. I was sleeping with him. Yes, Grandma. Like everybody coming with.
This is my
baby.
Women, y'all speaking
Yeah.
on grandma and grandpa. Women do it, and both of them know that it's wrong. But women do it, and they want to keep it a secret and keep him
More
away
strategic.
from him. And she want to go to the grocery store, but she ain't really going to the grocery store. But the man's gonna date the lady across the street because she gonna bring sweets to the house and sit down. She gonna sit down. She gonna sit down and gossip with the lady. And
Be right in her
speak
face.
to her like they just cool,
Right.
and that's how it's gonna be.
It's a damn
So
thing.
But
that's what I'm
women are different
saying.
than that.
Polyamory
They're like, I just-
from back in the day.
Meet me down the street because I don't even want.
Right, I ain't
Because
even-
let me tell you why. Because the man always knows. The man knows. You don't be stupid. I don't like that man. You so cool with that man. Like it's cool
You think
for-
you think Grandpa knew?
Grandpa know. Because let me tell you something.
Why? I don't
it's
know if
never
Grandpa
cool.
knew.
Grandpa knew.
You ever notice it's never cool for a man to think it's okay for his female, his counterpart to have a bunch of male friends. That's never cool with him.
That's
Right.
never cool.
That's
You right.
never cool
Right.
with him.
Right. Because they giving you the side eye when if y'all out and a dude comes speak, hey, so and so, and they like,
You look like,
so that's what we doing now?
Because the man
we
doesn't
hugging,
know.
we hugging.
The husband feel like he's supposed to know every man.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly.
But it's okay.
Right, who did?
My
Because he's a
husband
man.
knows a million females. We'll be out in public and he will get hugs. Oh, hey, how you doing?
And what you do?
But as soon as this one
But what do
guy,
you do when that
I
happens?
don't do anything. I usually, if it's somebody that I know, I'll speak it. But if not, I'll stop, give
Right.
them a second or
Right.
whatever. But if it's me, I don't care who it is. We could be in church. If somebody came and said, hey, Krista, how you doing?
Hey,
How
sisterhood.
Right.
you know him?
Yeah, we together. We together.
This is my husband.
Be like, this is the
Because
deacon.
women are emotional.
It's just
They'll
the
carry
deacon.
that. They'll carry that on them, and the man can smell it. He could smell it. Like you sleeping with that man.
You know.
You sleeping with that man. So she gonna hide it. She not gonna bring him around.
Right.
She gonna hide it. But the man gonna be like, oh, this what she working. She a secretary at the job. You know what I mean? Hey, you know, invite her over on Thanksgiving. You know,
Right.
'Cause I
Been
think
in the
women-
house.
I think women are more strategic because we have to think. We're always thinking about stuff, anyways.
Well,
Because
right, 'cause we
ultimately,
think about all the-
that's
everything
right.
that
We're
can
thinking
happen.
about
What can go wrong?
Right, we're thinking about all the different elements, so
Right.
it's easier
You did an
for
assessment.
us.
She did
That's
an
right.
assessment.
That's right.
But
You got a
then-
treatment
but-
plan on how
because-
you're gonna treat the
Another
open.
treatment.
You got how you gonna do.
Hold on.
Case plan.
And that's the thing because for you're right, for the men when it comes
They don't
and then when
think.
it comes out bad. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like the women even in their when they're heartbroken or whenever they doing when things are not right, they still consider the other person. It's not a sense, huh?
Isn't that the name of the movie?
Fences.
Fences.
I
Yes.
was just thinking about
As soon as
that.
you
But-
said it, that's what I thought.
I
What
know,
you
but
women
it's
do
true
in it.
because that's how we carry things. We consider
Take the
the
baby.
other person, no matter what the situation. This man can sleep with
Literally
everybody
bringing a
around
whole nother
town,
baby.
literally
Yeah.
bringing a whole nother. And he came in talking about something. Well, she done had a baby, and guess what? We gonna be keeping her. And she like, I guess we doing this now.
I mean, that was like 1706, but I'm
Don't
just
do
saying.
that.
It was not.
No, it
serious.
wasn't.
Nowadays-
It's more like 2017.
It ain't working like
Don't get it
that.
twisted.
No, but now, but what's the other thing now? It may not be that, but what is it now? What are we saying okay to now? Because I forget all this. I
Side
never
chicks.
forget when you know how you having those girlfriend conversations, y'all chit chatting everybody around. Yeah, cause girl, I wish he would cheat on me. That was the first thing. Oh, I wish he would have a baby on me. Now all things have happened. He done cheated. He done had a baby.
You
I
lost
mean, you
his
know what I'm saying?
job.
So right. So all of these things
still
that we
there.
said no to
right.
that we not gonna stand for. So
That's right.
you never know until
Never
you
know.
in it. What you
Never
gonna
know.
stand for?
Because I had a friend who I told she was in an open relationship all the time. I
And
kept
didn't even
trying to
know.
convince her, like, it's okay. No, they knew.
Oh, they knew.
It was this one will cheat on this one cheat on that one, and then they would go back and forth. And I'm like, but y'all in an open relationship. Stop fighting it and trying to
Right, that's
right, make it work.
Let it have its
Y'all
way.
trying so hard to live according to everybody else's
And that's-
rules for your relationship instead of just letting it be organic. No one is going to judge you any differently. What the judgment comes from is you being the fool,
That's
fighting
right.
it, saying, "Oh no, I'm never going back. He did this, blah blah blah."
Right.
No, it's okay. He slept with such and such, but you knew that, and he knew. Like, just
Right.
y'all in an open relationship.
And
Just
you
the
wanna
man
talk
thing
it
is-
out only for
things
you to
would be
go
so
back
much
to what
better.
you
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
Right.
And if you just put some parameters around it and roll with it,
Some little bit of
we don't have to
rules,
fight.
little guidelines.
we can just.
But what does that
Carry
But do
on.
you think people are more is it more concerned about what you think you should have and it should be, or is it what you think others think you should like? So
Either
is
way,
it
it's a
internal
should.
fight between y'all and within yourselves, or is it between what
It's
you think?
the-
other people-
both.
I will admit I've been too concerned about what other people
It's
think.
both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I think that we
shit
all
factor.
get caught up in, if you got a friend,
Oh,
a
wait, I
couple
have a-
who, what's that? You got a question?
Yes.
What's that? What they saying?
She said,
What the
what
people
if
saying?
you met a guy that was celibate for 2 years with his girlfriend but shows interest in you?
Celibate with
He's
this
been
girl.
celibate with his girlfriend,
So he's dating someone, but they're celibate. They're not, having sex.
but he's interested in what?
But he's interested in, I guess, you sexually.
You think he's lying? He's not celibate?
He's not celibate. He lying.
I don't know
He's
about
selling a
that.
bill of lies. That's what
Is
he's
he interested in you, but for what?
Right,
What-
what is
right.
he interested
You're
in?
not having
Right.
sex with her, but he's in. I mean, like.
So what does
he's
that
gonna be
mean?
What does he
celibate.
need from
But
her?
she said going out on dates, happy hour.
Well, why can't he do that with the girl that he ain't having sex
Who
with?
decided to be celibate?
Right? You said first.
to call in. The number is
Was that a group
404-436.
Yeah, we have questions.
No, we.
Was that a group decision to be celibate?
Well-
Because he might just be doing it because she want to do it, and then he's
Uh-oh.
like, I don't
You
know.
right. You right about
So
that.
now, okay, that makes sense.
That does make
Plot
sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
I ain't thinking about that.
Yeah, the plot.
Uh-oh. Look. Everybody like,
No, that's a good point.
that is a good point.
I wouldn't know.
See,
okay,
you gotta do an
I'm gonna answer that
assessment.
from my
You gotta
perspective.
do an assessment. This is why you gotta do an
I'm going
assessment.
to answer that from my perspective.
Okay.
Celibacy is a mental cleansing. It is.
Come on, mental
It's a
cleansing.
sexual cleansing. you don't want to have sex with that person. It's going to ruin stuff. So you're trying to get more mental with that person than sexual with that person. So for you to want to go get interest in somebody else,
That's right.
and go on dates with somebody else,
doesn't
you're
make
mentally cheating now because
You ain't cleansing.
You're not even cleansing anymore.
That's
so it's
true.
still cheating. I would just be like, no, I don't want to because you getting too.
You on day 2 of the smoothie cleanse talking about you cleansing.
Everybody do with me, I don't know. That's just too much going on.
No, you right.
Yeah, ask some more questions.
So you're not really cleansing.
Yeah, you're not. No, you're not. I mean, if you're gonna do it, then do it. Until y'all get married, then you have sex. But don't be going out trying to like get that mental connection with somebody else. That's just too much going on.
She said he only halfway celibate because there's still some oral sex going on. Then
That's
that's
not
celibate.
halfway
Like,
celibate.
Whoa, not halfway.
Halfway celibate.
Like
I'm
Mackenzie
halfway
said,
vegan.
lies.
Right.
I'm halfway
You
vegan.
can't.
You a little bit pregnant? Okay.
Oral sex is sex. Why don't people?
That's
get
right.
Right. Well, you know that's
Yeah.
always been a myth about
That's
back in
true.
the day because I remember when we was in high school.
Oh,
you
definitely
know,
back in the
I'm
day.
sorry. I mean, white girls in our school they used to always say, "Oh, we just as long as you just had oral sex, ain't had you still a virgin." I'm sorry, like, not really.
Yeah, no.
It just- huh? What? Why? Because you think
Even if
that
it don't go.
You said virgin.
Yeah, you're
But-
still a virgin, but you're still
Not
having
a
sex.
Virgin.
are you
You gotta have
though?
oral sex.
From the
Are
in
you
the
though?
biological
In the
biological
in
sense.
the
I don't even
biological
know.
Yeah, but what other sense is there? That's those girls.
But yes,
in
but,
the
but are
biological
you
sense.
though?
Yeah, because when you say
Only
the
because
root words,
medically it's still intact. I
Yeah,
get it. Okay,
yeah,
fine. But I'm
yeah.
saying stop fooling yourself.
It's still sex.
It's still
but
sex.
It's
you
not.
sneaky.
Yeah.
That's a
Shell
sneaky
said if
girl.
You can still get a STD or STI from
True
it,
that.
This
True
is
that. True
Let
that.
them know. So I don't know if that's still. I guess people still doing that. I don't know. Thinking you.
I don't even think they just do that no
But
more.
They don't
what
do that.
woman that had not have sex yet just going around sucking on?
What?
Come on. You don't get comfortable with
I
that.
think she went to a predominantly white school, and she said the white girls would tell her that all the time.
They would say that's what they used to
when
say in high
when
school.
I married
And you
my
can't get
husband,
pregnant?
I'm
She gonna be a virgin.
and that was how they grew up. I'm told that I need to be a virgin when I marry my husband, and I will be.
Only
you still
medically.
dipping and dabbing in the back of the police
Now, me
station.
I'm just saying.
If I had a girl that I was, interested in, and say for instance, okay, she was celibate when we got together and we got married or whatever, and our first night having sex, and she gives me oral sex, that way that she's probably giving everybody else oral sex, I'm gonna be like, you ain't no virgin.
You know right? You ain't no right. You doing that a little too well.
Professional.
Professional.
Gag reflex at all.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay. But wait a minute. But hold on. So then that goes against. We get into a whole nother topic because I was gonna say that then goes against the whole myth of only that black women don't.
Oh.
Because that's always been like,
Yeah. I think that's changed.
Don't do that.
That's changed.
I'm about to say, what you say, Chalice?
look at it. He got some other tea.
Yeah, no,
That
that's
was the old
changed.
saying that black women. So even from one of my
was
white
taboo.
coworkers would
It
tell
was
me all the
taboo.
time too that she would date black men because black men would tell her as a white woman that black women do not do oral sex.
Because it was
Right.
taboo.
It was taboo.
It was taboo. But
So
I
all the
think
black women getting pregnant, but all the white girls still virgins because they get oral sex. That's all.
Only medically though. Can we put the emphasis on medically?
You got an iPhone charger?
Oh yeah, she
But I
do.
think that really changed in the I think that started to change in the 90s.
You think so?
Honestly.
See, the 90s was.
I really think it started to change in the
Look at the
90s.
box.
I think what it to me, and I also said that what it was is that when I was in high school, wasn't nobody going around doing that.
No.
Like that was definitely like one of them things. Like, ooh,
Yeah.
is that
Yeah.
what? But I mean, as people become adults, and they
But now that's the thing though.
Yeah,
But
you're
like
right.
literally now that is the thing.
right,
Particularly for younger folk.
not 2%. You almost through.
Yes.
2% is really not on.
His phone just got off.
Did it? It's done. It's done.
And we're at.
Oh my goodness.
But no,
yeah.
so I think that has become the thing, and I think with the prevalence of porn and more access to porn, there's even more of an expectation for that to happen, and so now it's just sort of commonplace.
Right. I think I'm
It's just
dead.
commonplace. Yeah, I think yours that too.
Dang, we all out.
Yeah, I think.
right.
I think that's
Well,
a sign.
that's why we only got
That's
two. Well, that's why we got 2 minutes left. But yeah, so I just, you know what, this was a great conversation. I'm
It
so
was
glad
good.
we
Really
had
good
you.
time.
Did you have a good
Matter
time?
of fact, I did. Let me go ahead and save this.
Right.
Before I be upset.
I know.
Oh, right, don't
Mine
want to
already
say it.
gone, so we lost that whole footage.
Thank you.
But no,
for
but
joining us.
Bye, y'all.
No, but this was an excellent show. I really appreciate you coming on. We So had a good time.
Yeah, that was really good. Thank you,
It was.
Chalice.
I'm glad. I had a really good time. Please invite me back.
We
Yeah.
of course.
Awesome.
Just let us know what you want to talk about.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay, good.
I can do that.
Because we
Absolutely.
love
Probably
having
switch
special
up.
guests.
Probably switch it up anyways.
I know.
Awesome.
But yeah, so thank you, Diamond K, for
Oh, I had 1,000
Another
viewers.
show. So I guess we'll see them next year.
yeah. Dang,
Talk about I
next
ain't no
year.
celebrity. That's celebrity status right there.
2018.
We'll see them next year.
I hope y'all got your goals together.
Yes.
You got your goals together, Diamond?
Have a safe and happy New Year.
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
safe
Don't be out here
first.
getting
Keyword
hooking up
safe
with them.
New Year.
Right.
Wear
I know.
Get
protection.
yourself right. Get yourself together.
Wear
Yes.
protection.
But yeah, so
Take an Uber.
but thank you all. I'm Krishna.
I'm Victoria.
And I'm Kristen.
I'm Chalice. Thanks for having me.
Yes,
Yay.
and we out of here.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Good night,
Happy
y'all.
New Year, guys. See, I did that for nothing.
Thanks, Jen.
I'm sorry.
Commercial break. Okay.
That was fun.
Yay.
Super duper fun.